Hi everyone, welcome to this video wherein I will be giving you some tips and strategies on how to tackle strengthen an argument question which appears on the Gmat and GRE. My name is Pradeep Krishnan and I've been training thousands of students for Gmat over the past 10 years. Let's get started. Now, when it comes to strengthen an argument question, the test taker need to identify an option that strengthens the conclusion of the argument. The correct answer choice fixes a potential weakness in the conclusion by introducing additional supporting evidence. The answer choice should be considered as an additional premise. Don't eliminate the option assuming it to be an out-of-scope option. When you negate the right answer choice, it weakens your conclusion. Remember, the golden rule when it comes to a strengthener is look for an answer option which supports the author's opinion or the conclusion. Never eliminate an option thinking that the information is not present in the argument. Remember, when it comes to strengthener or weakener, we're actually looking for an option which has information that's not present in the argument. So we are looking for an outside information. Now, this is the crux of the strengthener. Now, let's see how Gmat tests you a strengthener question, or let's see how a question is worded. Now, these are some of the ways Gmat can come up with a strengthener question. The first sentence, as you can see, which of the following, if true, most strongly supports the restorer's hypothesis? So the word or the phrase the most strongly supports suggests that it's a strengthener. Which of the following, if true, best supports the explanation? So that's another keyword. Remember, identifying the keyword is very important to understand the question type. So this is another keyword which you need to keep in your mind. Look at the third example. Which of the following, if true, provides the strongest justification for the company's decision? Now, the statement strongest justification suggests that it's a strengthener. Let's do a question and see if we are able to identify the lines which suggests that we need to strengthen it. And let's also look at options to identify the right option which strengthens the argument. Now, the statement goes like this: manufacturers sometimes discount the price of a product to retailers for a promotion period when the product is advertised to consumers. Such promotions often result in a dramatic increase in an amount of products sold by the manufacturers to retailers. Nevertheless, the manufacturers could often make more profit by not holding promotions. Now, so as you're already aware, when you're given an argument, the first and foremost thing is to identify the conclusion or the opinion of the author, and then identify the premise or the data that the author furnishes to support his conclusion. Now, from the given argument, it's quite easy for you to spot the conclusion because the word nevertheless here at the end suggests that this line is your conclusion, right? So the conclusion says manufacturers could often make more profit by not holding promotion. So in a sense, the conclusion says, let's don't go for promotion. Let's stop going for promotion. Now, on what basis the author comes to that conclusion? See, there are two data here. The first point is manufacturers discount the price of a product to retailers for a promotion period when the product is advertised to consumers. So that's the first reason why the author comes to a conclusion that let's don't go for promotion. So that's my premise. So I'm going to say it's premise 1. And then I have another reason which says promotions result in a dramatic increase in the amount of products sold by the manufacturers to retailers. So that's my second reason why I'm coming to a conclusion that let's don't go for promotion. So that's my premise 1 and premise 2, and this is my conclusion. Now, so this is very important for you to identify whenever you're given an argument. Try to identify the conclusion and the premise of the argument. Now, let's see the conclusion here. Look at the conclusion, right? Conclusion says more profits without promotion, with promotion, less profit. That's my conclusion. And the premise says manufacturers discount their price to retailers during promotion, and during promotion, dramatic increase in product sold by manufacturers to retailers. So these are my 2 reasons. Now, I, as a test taker, need to strengthen the conclusion, right? Remember, you need to strengthen the conclusion of the author. So what's my conclusion, right? This is my conclusion. Let's don't go for promotion. Now, let's see which of the answer options suggests that let's avoid promotion. So the first option says the amount of discount generally offered by manufacturers to retailers is carefully calculated to represent the minimum needed to draw consumers' attention to the product. Now, what does this statement say? This statement essentially says that the way they come to the promotion, or the criteria they use to come to a promotion, is carefully calculated to draw the consumer's attention to the product. So in a sense, it says, let's go for promotion, right? Whereas I'm looking for an option which says, let's avoid promotion. So option A is a weakener, right? Remember, a weakener is an option which goes against the author's conclusion, right? So that's why it's very important that you understand the author's conclusion. Option B says, for many consumer products, the period of advertising discounted price to consumers is about a week, not sufficiently long for consumers to become used to sale price. Now, this also suggests that promotion period is not a long enough period for the consumer to get used to the sale price. So essentially, this supports the point. So it's not what I'm looking for, right? It does not strengthen my argument. Remember, my argument or my conclusion is let's avoid promotion, whereas option B says that let's hold on, let's go for promotion. Let's look at option C. For products that are not newly introduced, the purpose of such promotion is to keep the products in the minds of consumers, to attract consumers who are currently using a competing product. So again, this talks about an advantage of promotion, right? So the advantage of promotion is you can attract consumers at a later period, right? So this, in a sense, is a weakener, right? Just like option A, this is also a weakener because it says, let's go for promotion. Whereas I'm looking for an option which says, let's avoid promotion. So C can be eliminated. Now let's look at D. D says during such a promotion, retailers tend to accumulate in their warehouses inventory bought at discount, they then sell much of it later at their regular price. Now, what does this option say? This option says that retailers accumulate products from manufacturers. So basically, retailers buy the product from manufacturers at a discounted rate, and then they sell it to the consumers at the normal price. So here, retailers are earning profit by selling the product or buying the product from manufacturer at a cheaper price and selling it to retailers at regular price. So who is the winner here? The winner is retailer. So it essentially says that let's avoid promotion, right? So this is what I'm looking for. It strengthens my conclusion that promotion is not good. Let's look at E. E says if a manufacturer fails to offer such promotion, but its competitor offers them, that competitor will tend to attract consumers away from manufacturer's product. Now look at the wording. If a manufacturer fails to offer such promotion, competitor will attract consumers away from manufacturer's product. Now, in a sense, it is supporting promotion, right? Let's give promotion to consumers, right? So that is not a strengthener, right? It's a weakener. So the right option is option D, which strengthens my conclusion. So I hope it's quite clear for all of you. So let's do one more question on strengthener. Again, look at the question stem first to identify the statement. So the question stem says, which of the following, if true, most strengthens the argument, right? So that's the key word that I'm looking for. Most strengthens the argument. So now let's read the argument. So the argument says, often patients with ankle fractures that are stable and thus do not require surgery are given follow-up X-ray because their orthopedists are concerned about possibly having misjudged the stability of the fracture. When a number of follow-up X-rays were reviewed, however, all the fractures that had initially been judged stable were found to have healed correctly. Therefore, it's a waste of money to order follow-up X-ray, right? So let's try and understand the argument here. Now, if you look at the argument, the key word therefore suggests that this is my conclusion, right? So that entire line starting from therefore is my conclusion. So what's my conclusion? Conclusion says that it's a waste of money to order follow-up X-ray. Remember, this is my conclusion. It's a waste of money to order follow-up X-ray for ankle fractures initially judged stable. Now, on what basis the author comes to a conclusion that it's a waste of money to order follow-up X-rays? Now, the data says that when a number of follow-up X-rays were reviewed, all the fractures that had initially been judged stable were found to have healed correctly. Now, basing this data, right? Basing this data that all those fractures which were initially judged stable were found to have healed correctly. So obviously there is no need to go for follow-up X-ray, right? It's just a waste of money to go for follow-up X-ray. Now that's what you need to strengthen. You need to look for an option which in a sense says that let's avoid follow-up X-rays. Let's look at the option. So the first option says that doctors who are general practitioners rather than orthopedists are less likely than orthopedists to judge the stability of an ankle fracture. Now, this says that orthopedists are better suited when it comes to judging someone's ankle fracture stability. Now, this has nothing to do with the argument, right? Are we concerned who is in a better position to judge whether you have an ankle fracture which require a future consultation, right? Or we're not concerned about it, right? So that's a completely out of scope argument. What we need to strengthen, remember, what we need to strengthen here is it's a waste of money to order follow-up X-ray, right? So let's avoid follow-up X-ray. That's what I'm looking for. Now look at B. B says many ankle injuries for which an initial X-ray is ordered are revealed by the X-ray not to involve any ankle fracture or any fracture of the ankle. Now look at the wording. Here it talks about injuries for which an initial X-ray is ordered, right? And it says that these X-rays does not have any ankle fracture. Remember, the argument is not about the X-rays which were asked to do initially. The argument is about whether we need to go for follow-up X-ray or not, right? So B is completely out of scope because it's not what we are looking for. So B is gone. Look at C. X-rays of patients of many different orthopedists working in several hospitals were reviewed. Now, what about that? Now, the argument says that these doctors asked patients to go for follow-up X-ray because they were concerned about the possibility of them misjudging the stability of the fracture. And when they did the review, they found that those X-rays or those fractures which were judged stable were healed correctly. Now, what do we know about the review? It says when a number of follow-up X-rays were reviewed. Now, do we know how many people's fractures were reviewed? Do we know the number of X-rays being reviewed? It only suggests a number of X-rays being reviewed. Now, what if these review happened on patients wherein, let's say, these patients are basically belonging to a particular doctor or a particular hospital? Now, will we be able to come to a general conclusion that it's a waste of money to order follow-up X-ray, right? Now, if the review is based on a particular doctor or a particular patient, coming to a conclusion that it's applicable for all, that would be a hasty generalization, right? That's a flaw in the argument. But what if the review is based on not just one patient or one doctor? If it is based on different patients and different doctors, right? Then it would make sense for you to come to a conclusion that it's a waste of money to order follow-up X-ray, right? So that's exactly what option C says, right? It in a sense, if you look at it, it does not validate your conclusion, but it at least strengthens the whole argument, right? It in a sense says, or it in a sense questions the argument by saying that, now, can we say that let's avoid the entire group of people not to go for follow-up X-ray, right? It at least questions that point, right? So this is the strengthener that I'm looking for. That this clearly suggests, okay, let's avoid follow-up X-ray. So that's what I'm looking for in the right option. So let's hold on to option C. Now, D says the healing of ankle fractures that have been surgically repaired. Remember, we're not talking about surgically repaired fractures, right? That's point number one. Now, it says the healing of ankle fractures that have been surgically repaired is always checked by means of a follow-up X-ray. Now, in a sense, it says that certain fractures require follow-up X-ray. So what is it? It's actually a weakener, right? I'm looking for an option which says, let's don't go for follow-up X-ray. So D is a weakener, so that's wrong. E says orthopedists routinely order follow-up X-rays for fractures of bone other than ankle bones. Now remember, the entire argument is about ankle fractures, right? So we are not concerned about fractures other than ankle. So that's an out of scope option. So you should be able to eliminate that one as well. So the right option here is option C. So I hope it's quite a good learning experience for you. So in the next video, we'll be covering some more topics on critical reasoning. So thanks for watching.